and let's talk about trying to live a normal life. 2 chapters today, and that would be Horace Slughorn and An Excess of Phlegm, in which we get played off of each other a really odd situation versus a situation that probably seems very normal to a lot of us. People getting married, worrying about grades, telling your best friend's secrets, fighting with your family, versus straight up a dude who ripped apart a house he's staying in so that it would make it look like he was attacked by Death Eaters, so Dumbledore would go away, but he's been jumping houses to avoid getting attacked by Death Eaters, but he doesn't want to go to Hogwarts, but he does want to collect Harry Potter because Slug Club. The thing is that what we're seeing Slughorn go through seems abnormal to us. And it seems weird that Dumbledore and Harry are having to go to such lengths to actually convince Slughorn to come to Hogwarts, because it seems obvious to us that it is a safer situation. Since we know he's actually the potions professor and not the dark arts professor, defense against the dark arts professor, that has the cursed position. So in theory, Slughorn is going to survive, and we actually know he's going to survive more than 1 year. He is still at the school in his position in 7th year. It seems weird to us. And then he goes on to this weird sort of discussion about all the people that he knows. And that still seems a little weird, but we're actually moving back into normal territory. Networking like this is a type of thing. I've been encouraged to keep the emails of all my profs so that if I ever need an introduction to somebody else, they're there. I've actually done this. I asked for a specific prof's reference letter because I was aware that she knew one of the major profs at the school that I was aiming to get into. So I knew they could communicate well. It's actually quite a normal thing to go networking. And this sort of club that he talks about really does seem like a networking event where you only know a couple people, but then you're introduced to a couple more people, and then when you all move on, you move up in the world, you know each other, and it's actually normal. And what's worse is the prejudices we're seeing are also normal. Like that moment where Slughorn says, "Oh, you mustn't think I'm prejudiced. I did tell you that your mother, the Muggle-born, was one of my favorites, didn't I?" That really sounds like, I'm not racist. I have a friend who's black. That's not always an excuse for if you say prejudiced and racist things. But it's the more normal type. It's something that we very openly could experience in our world at any point in time. We know people like this. People who always talk about networking, even more so if they're not actually super high up, but they're living vicariously through other people that they know. It's freaking how many degrees of Kevin Bacon. Well, I know so-and-so who knows so-and-so who worked with so-and-so who worked with so-and-so who worked with Kevin Bacon. Like, it's this idea of moving through the world not as yourself, but as a network of people around you. And this is actually normal. Slughorn's actions are actually actions taken in an attempt to continue a normal lifestyle. He doesn't want to get dragged into this war either by the Death Eaters or by Dumbledore. And it's only when Harry sort of reminds him that in attempting to avoid disruption to his lifestyle, he is disturbing his lifestyle, that Slughorn actually capitulates. It's only from him saying, I thought you said you hadn't, like, can they find you to actually give you these things? And it's his sudden realization of, I am outside of my network, and this is uncomfortable for me. That Dumbledore is able to return him to his network by returning him to Hogwarts. And then we get the sort of the kids' side of this thing, which normalizes it even more so for us. We're always going to have those moments where things are weird because this is never going to be completely normal anymore. We're not going to be able to go beyond the fact that we're part of this magical war. So there are threads like Dumbledore's private lessons and the prophecy and the death of Sirius. These threads are going to be here, but they're not the full picture. The full picture actually includes a lot of normal things where we can see that we're not trying to do what Slughorn's doing. We're trying to still have our normal lives and encompass these concerns within it. So while we have these little threads of concerns, we also have this overarching normalcy to it. We're worried about the owl results that are coming in. We're making judgments on the boyfriends and girlfriends our siblings have, or in this case the fiancé that Bill has. We're comparing ourselves to other people, which really does seem to be what's happening with the girls in this moment. And, more outright, comparing people to other people. Like, comparing Tonks and Fleur together, just like, this isn't what we should be doing. We're teasing people. We're trying to make our own ways in the world, like Fred and George are. We're suffering from pranks and teasing and things like this. For the threads of strange, terrifying things, this moment at the Burrow tells us that there's more to life than the mortal danger that the clock is stuck on. We're looking at the possibility of a wedding moving forward. We've got owl students. Harry does have this moment at the end where he says, and there goes my opportunity to be an Aurora. The thought does eventually come down to, well, I'm going to have to do this anyway, so maybe I'm never going to make it to that point. But the initial thought is, I passed what I needed to pass, but not by one grade, and now I've got to reevaluate things. And we actually know, of course, that he doesn't have to because Slughorn's taking over potions, and he exceeds expectations. But it is just this crashing wave of normalcy that seems to hit us in this second chapter. But in fact, we can actually see throughout both of these chapters, even in the odd situation with Slughorn, consider the mantra that Harry's always hearing. You look exactly like your father, but you have your mother's eyes. That is so normal to him now that it's actually just pulling down on him. It's been happening too much. And this comes after he thought somebody might have been attacked, where he's having these weird conversations with Dumbledore and with Slughorn, where he's finding out more information, but it's not ever quite enough information, where he's apparating for the first time and things like this. While things seem weird in the first chapter with hints of normalcy, we then get the wave of normalcy with the hints of the weird, except everything at this point is blending in together. And that's the thing we need to keep in mind, is maybe the weird things and the scary things are things that we just have to accept as part of life. Maybe we're never going to live through an era of war like these characters are going through now. But there's always going to be our fears and our hopes and our dreams and weirdness that we just cannot control. So maybe we can't think of it as there's normal over here and then there's what we're experiencing. Maybe, honestly, those are just crammed together in a big, messy ball of stuff. And we just have to work with stuff. And Slughorn. Okay. I'm gonna keep reading, and I hope you do too. See you next time.